So, anyway, as I was saying, the reason that I need to show my face today is because I can't show footage from the movie that I want to talk about. If you might remember, almost 10 years ago, AIB tried to make a video poking fun at Dhoom 2. But they weren't able to because Yash Raj Films is a bit of a bitch. And so they ended up making a different video and all was well. 10 years have passed since this happened. And to this day, you cannot make a video, you cannot upload any footage from that movie on YouTube. The first video that I ever made was just me poking fun at Dhoom 2, but I couldn't upload it. It was probably for the best because it was really bad, but I like to hold grudges. I mean, I'm not saying that making videos where you're just dumping on bad movies is exactly doing God's work or anything, but my point is you should be able to if that's what you want to do. So this video is meant as a protest in favor of free speech on the internet because we don't have enough of that already. And just in general, I want to help people process the trauma that we all have from growing up with the Dhoom series. So I have watched all three movies. I have made copious amounts of notes in two separate notebooks. So I'm going to go through each of the three movies in chronological order and make fun of the things that I've always wanted to make fun of. And maybe even read the story for a potential Dhoom 4. I'm just kidding. We all hope that never happens, but I think I need to alert everyone that there is a possibility of that happening. So the first film, Dhoom, starts with this song named Dil Bole Shik Dum. If you went to watch this movie with your family, you'll remember this song. It features Rimi Sen and Abhishek Bachchan. Rimi Sen was really the it girl during the mid 2000s, wasn't she? And I think that says enough about us as people during that time. But I'm no one to judge because this movie had a strong impact on me when I was a teenager. And it's because of John Abraham. John Abraham looks so cool in this movie. I mean, I'm not saying that he has acted very well because, as we all know, he's not very good at having expressions on his face. I mean, there are times when he's supposed to look really angry and they zoom in on him to get a close up of him and he just looks like he's dead inside. But from a distance, he looks really cool. John Abraham in this movie has the hairstyle that Salman Khan probably wanted to have in Tere Naam, but like cut his bangs at 2 a.m. and just ended up looking like Salman Khan in Tere Naam. John Abraham in this movie was to me what Raveena Tandon was to a lot of people in Tip Tip Barsa Pani. Him and Diego from Ice Age. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Okay, now that we're done gushing over John Abraham, let's talk about some supporting characters. Abhishek Bachchan and Udaishupra play Jay and Ali respectively. I'm not a fan of Abhishek Bachchan like almost everyone else. But giving credit where credit is due, he is probably the best actor in this movie. And I don't mean that as a compliment to Abhishek Bachchan, but as an insult to the movie. I think at first glance, almost everyone would categorize Dhoom as a heist movie. But I don't think that that's fair because they never show you the heist part of the heist movie. They just show you the chase sequence. So it's a chase movie. मतलब इनसे ज़्यादा हाइस्ट तो हलचल में परेश रावल और अरशद वारसी ने की थी करीना कपूर की शादी में घुसने के लिए.
इतनी देर क्यों की? अरे इतने बड़े पतीले नहीं मिल रहे थे.
Okay, let me summarize the basic plot for you in case you have forgotten. There is a group of thieves who rob banks and run away on motorcycles. This group of thieves is led by John Abraham. But apart from him, who else is in the team? Yeah, there is Isha Deol. She is completely redundant and there is no point to her being in the movie. I mean, she acts as like what is called the honey trap, I believe. Except every time she distracts people, nobody does anything while she's distracting them. She just shows up, dances, and the thieves escape after that. Who else was in the team? Okay, there was Bhishma Pitama. The reason I call him Bhishma Pitama is because he played Bhishma Pitama in the new Ekta Kapoor's Mahabharat that Shaktiman really hates. Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing him here. You might remember him as the guy whose car John Abraham throws off a cliff because he's worried that it might expose their identities if he's seen driving a car that's so expensive, even though he could have just told him to not drive it for a while and just store it somewhere else. But he looked cool throwing it off the cliff, so I don't care. Does Bhishma Pitama do anything in the movie? Oh, yeah, he stands around really weird. Okay, we were summarizing the plot. I completely forgot. There is a new ACP in town, Jay Dikshit, played by Abhishek Bachchan, who is set on catching these thieves with the help of another motorbike racer, Ali. I don't really want to talk about him. Okay, Jay Dikshit is supposedly very smart and he figures out a pattern that these thieves have. And the pattern is that they always use the same highway to escape. So they're only robbing banks that are like adjacent to the highway. And instead of blocking the highway or searching vehicles on checkpoints, they stand outside the bank that they think is going to get robbed. Not even inside next to the vault, outside it. Okay, some stuff happens. Jay and Ali get into a fight, a very public fight, and they decide to split up, but not before Abhishek Bachchan shoots a member of the gang. So now there is a vacancy. So obviously, Ali gets hired as the replacement and betrays them. And the movie starts coming to an end. As each of these films start approaching their climax, they start raising the bar in terms of how stupid their characters can be. And that bar is really high in the first place. So the gang commits its final robbery at a casino, and Abhishek Bachchan captures them and has video footage of them robbing the casino. They're walking side by side to the exit where they will be taken to jail from. And I think Abhishek Bachchan just like gets lost in his eyes or something. He forgets to handcuff John Abraham. There is a power cut and he escapes. If you had just accepted the attraction between you two and held his hand, he would not have escaped. He would have had to run away with you. John Abraham finds Udaishupra and is about to shoot him in the head when Abhishek Bachchan shows up riding a boat and rescues Udaishupra. And now that there is going to be a fight scene and it would just be inconvenient to have a girl, Sheena just surrenders, saying that she's in love with Ali. So we just like keep her aside. Okay, so now that it's finally time to run away with all the money that they've stolen, and the only guy chasing them is on a boat, instead of riding their motorcycles, the thieves start driving a truck. I'm serious. You remember what I said about raising the bar in terms of stupidity? Yeah, it's a recurring theme. Okay, so in the last scene, John Abraham is facing the edge of a cliff. Okay, and to his left, there is Udaishupra, and to his right, there is Abhishek Bachchan on a motorcycle, which he has probably never ridden before. And instead of just driving past them, he commits suicide and jumps off the cliff. And I don't get how they would have been able to stop him if he had just gone past them. Like, what is he going to do? Obstruct the way with himself? And it's not like one of them is going to shoot his tires or something. They don't know about that. That's not a thing that can happen in this universe. So why? The only takeaway that I have from this movie is that John Abraham looks really cool in it from a distance. Abhishek Bachchan agrees. The homoerotic tension between Abhishek Bachchan and John Abraham in this movie becomes palpable. They have more chemistry than any other couple in the entire series. Karan Johar probably decided to make Dostana after watching this movie, and I don't blame him. I think that there was enough potential for this to have been a love story between the two. I mean, like, think about it. They're both like geniuses who are leagues ahead of everyone among their peers. Like, he's a genius cop, he's a hot thief. I mean, I'm going to write a fan fiction about the two of them together. I don't care about society. Please don't unsubscribe. Okay, let's move on to Dhoom 2, the movie that spits right in the face of physics more than almost any other film. It has Hrithik Roshan as the antagonist. With his performance in this movie, he became the first man crush of almost every guy in the nation. Other additions to the cast include Bipasha Basu and Aishwarya Rai, and I think the two of them compete to see who can give the worst acting performance in a movie. And in my opinion, Bipasha Basu wins simply because she has a double role in the movie. So that's like twice as much bad acting. Bipasha Basu's first role is that of ACP Shonali Bose, and she acts as the love interest to Abhishek Bachchan. And you might be thinking that Abhishek Bachchan is already married to Rimi Sen, right? Well, we've already seen Rimi Sen dance in skimpy clothes in the first movie. We can't, objectify her again. Like, people are bored, right? So the writers just make her pregnant and give Abhishek Bachchan another love interest. Rimi Sen's character's name is Sweetie, I think. And in the last scene that we see her, she is pregnant and worried that her husband might be having an affair with Bipasha Basu. And that's just the last time we see her. She just stops existing afterwards. And usually I would complain about sidelining female characters like this. But honestly, I'm just glad that I didn't have to sit through more scenes of her. Does that make me a bad feminist? So, ACP Shonali Bose joins the Mumbai police force, saying that she has been following this thief called Mr. A across the globe for a year or two. And he leaves behind no clues, and there's no pattern to his robberies. And Abhishek Bachchan figures out a pattern. He deciphers that Mr. A is trying to make an A across the world map and decides that means that the next robbery is going to be in Mumbai. Everybody is really impressed with him, especially ACP Shonali Bose. But my question is that if you did not know that the next robbery is going to be in Mumbai, why did you come to Mumbai? Huh? I mean, it's not her fault. The writers want to make Abhishek Bachchan look smart, and the only way to manage that is by comparison, making everyone dumb as a rock. And like, her character suffers from that more than almost anyone else. Like, they know the fact that the next robbery that Mr. A, Hrithik Roshan, is going to commit will be in Mumbai, and there are only two artifacts that he might want to steal. So they start guarding those artifacts. Except they use their best security to guard only one of them and just leave Ali and some security guards, not even cops, security guard in charge of the other object. And the only time that Abhishek Bachchan has bothered to stand next to the thing that's going to be stolen is when it's the wrong thing. So this is the only movie where they have shown you the heist part of the heist movie. Except that they just cut out the stuff that is dumb. Hrithik Roshan needs to steal this diamond, and so he covers himself from head to toe in Birla White Putty and stands posing as a statue next to the diamond and has a tiny little toy car and steals the diamond. Okay, fine. How does he get out of there? Dressed as a statue, covered in Birla White Putty. Like, they don't show you that part where he has to like awkwardly run away. He doesn't even wait for the day to be over and for the museum to close so that he can sneak away when there is nobody around. No, they just don't show you the parts that are inconvenient. And you know what? it's actually fine. It was pretty cool for the time that it was made in. So they're not able to catch Hrithik Roshan, spoiler alert. And Jay Dikshit, Abhishek Bachchan, comes up with a plan. His plan is the same in each of the three movies. He gets someone to infiltrate the gang of thieves, or just like one thief in this one, and later betray them. Like he did it with Ali in the first one. Ali pretended to be a thief with John Abraham's gang and later betrayed them. With this one, he gets Nehri to make Hrithik Roshan fall in love with her, I guess. Because the only reason that he agrees to like let her be his partner is because she's hot. There is no other reason. They don't even pretend that there could be another reason. And in the third movie, he goes himself because I bet nobody wants to do it for him anymore. To befriend Amir Khan's twin. You guys remember that? He had a twin. So there is a scene where they know that Aryan is going to show up to steal this artifact or whatever. And so Nehri shows up as well to steal the same artifact in Aryan's name. And they have a conversation and it goes on for a while. And later you find out that Sunehri is working for Jay Dikshit. And on second viewing, you can't help but notice that if he had just given her a gun to shoot him with at the crime site in the knee, none of this would have had to happen. I don't know why I'm bothering to point out plot holes in a movie that's so dumb. I have nothing better to do. So let's talk about Sunehri, the golden girl. She is a knockoff version of Basanti from Sholay. Like she even has a catchphrase where she says "Baatein kam, kaam zyada." देखो, मुझे बेफिजूल की बात करने की आदत तो है नहीं. And just keeps on blabbering. So Sunehri is supposed to get Aryan to trust her and show her his real face. Because the biggest problem that they face in trying to catch Aryan is that he puts on a lot of disguises and nobody is able to recognize him. Sunehri never mentions his extra thumb. I mean, I'm glad that she's really like body positive and it doesn't matter to her. I mean, Hrithik Roshan's body should not be made fun of. But like maybe mention it though. I mean, I think they would have caught him a bunch of times by now if you had. Like I said earlier, the tension starts rising and so does the stupidity as we approach the climax. But before we get to that, I need to talk about something. This has been bothering me for a while now. And I don't know if I'll be able to explain the joke without showing you footage. But I will try. I need to get this off my chest. Just please listen. There is this joke in this movie. Like I mentioned, Pasha Basu has a double role, right? So her second role is that of a really stupid woman. Surprise. And she's hosting Jay and Ali at her house. And she cooks for them. She makes 3 separate dishes and says that this is paneer something something, this is something else, this is kali dal. And they show you a close-up of the food. And the food looks normal, except each dish looks exactly the same. And Abhishek Bachchan sarcastically says that if he has to eat any more of this food, he will go to a hotel. But the food looks fine. Like it's not like burnt or anything. Except the 3 dishes that she's made look exactly the same. So what is the joke here? That she is so stupid that she followed the same recipe 3 times and thought that it was 3 different dishes? What is it? I don't get it. Am I stupid? Do I not? Is there something that I'm missing? Anyway, in case I end up igniting your interest in the Dhoom franchise by accident and you decide to revisit the movies, there is something that I need to warn you about. If you were a girl while these movies were popular, or if you were a dancer, when you watch these movies, it's very likely that you are going to remember some of the dance steps. And it is really embarrassing. Like crazy Kiare. I hate that I know that. Okay, let's talk about the climax. Instead of betraying Aryan, Sunehri betrays Jay Dikshit, obviously, and they succeed in stealing the coins or whatever that they were going to steal. And now that they've been successful in the robbery and they know that everyone is going to be looking for them, instead of like putting on disguises and assuming fake identities and just laying low in the city while everything settles down, they decide to run away on a bike on the most deserted road in the city. Jadikshit spots them, and a bunch of stunts happen that have not held up at all. All the four characters, Aryan, Sunehri, Jay Dikshit, Udaishupra, all end up on the edge of a cliff. Surprise. They've been caught, essentially, and Sunehri has a gun that Jay and Ali are not aware of, and she pulls it out. And instead of shooting Jay or Ali, she shoots Aryan, and he falls off the cliff. I wish he had died there because not enough people die in these movies. If I had to improve only one thing in the entire series, it would be that a lot more characters should die. Because, they are useless. Anyway, Aryan is alive and nobody cares. If you grew up watching Dhoom 2, it's likely that it gave you body image issues. But upon rewatching the second one, I would like to tell you that even Hrithik Roshan has stretch marks. That's what I have chosen to take away from this movie. Okay, this video is already too long and it's 2 a.m. I don't feel like recording the rest of it right now. So, this is going to be a two-parter. Let me just tell you what's going to happen in the next one. I'm going to make fun of Dhoom 3. It's an easy task. I have made up a drinking game which you can play if you want to revisit the series. And remember what I said about there being a potential sequel? It's a comic book set in the universe of the Dhoom series, and it's written by Uday Chopra. It has a lot of promise. So come back next time and we'll read it together.